While everyone has their preferred method of learning, especially with the internet, we can watch YouTube videos, we can listen to podcasts, we can read ebooks, or we can buy physical books. There's a lot of different ways you can take in information. However, I believe that there are 5 books that every marketer should read at least once, if not have, in their reference library. Let's break it down. Good Marketing Minute. I'm not much of a reader. I do start a lot of books. I probably read a lot of books because I gave myself the permission a long time ago that I don't have to feel pressure to finish a book. So I read a book until I feel like I get the joke, or I get whatever the premise is, and then I can be done with it and I'll count it as finished. And so I like to plow through books, and I like to have them as a reference that I can go back to. If there's something I remember but it's maybe not perfectly clear in my mind, I can just quickly pull it back out and find the reference I'm looking for. And these are the 5 books that I do that with the most. Book number 1, How to Write Copy That Sells. So many marketing gurus or influencers or just people that have thoughts that are widely shared and accepted in the marketing arena, they talk so generally. They talk in all these generalities of strategy and value, and they love to talk about Apple and Harley Davidson and all these really important concepts in businesses. This is a rare book that gets tactical and strategic. This is how to write a headline. This is how to write a body. This is how to capture people's attention. These are examples. This book is so practical, and copy is one of the undervalued heavyweights to being successful as a marketer. Whether you're making brochures, you're making videos, you're posting on social media, copy matters so much. So this, number 1. Number 2, Positioning, The Battle for the Mind, Jack Trout and Al Ries. This is actually an older book. I want to say it's maybe from the 80s or 90s. They reference some companies as examples in here, like Xerox and things like that. So it feels a little dated when you're reading it. I read it for the first time probably 3-4 years ago, and I've read it subsequently 3, 4, 5 times since then. This is fascinating because it gets down to how our brains work as consumers and how we should react to that as marketers when we're looking to own a position inside a consumer's mind of what do they think of with our brand. Where do we want to live inside their mind? What does our brand represent? And how do we look at our space and see who's already there and make it aware that we can't operate certain spaces because they're already owned. It's going to be much harder to overtake those places. But if we tweak this slightly, tweak that slightly, then we can own a unique space inside someone's mind. So, love this book. Number 3, This Is Marketing, Mr. Seth Godin. You could take a number of Seth Godin books and put it on this list. He's an incredible marketer. He's got a fascinating mind. He's an engaging speaker. And a lot of times when I like someone as a speaker, sometimes I don't really like them as a writer or whatever it is. They're not well-rounded in every area of communication. Seth Godin happens to be the exception to that. This is a really great book. I think it's probably on the list more so than Purple Cow or any of his other Tribes, any of his other well-known books, because it's his most recent, and so I feel like it reflects his most current thoughts around marketing. A lot of the concepts are shared, or he'll reference old concepts inside here about bringing value and smallest viable market and having permission marketing from people. So really great book. If you are looking to dive into a book at the first book, this may be a good start for you, just to understand how can I come at this from a totally organic perspective and begin to understand how this should be framed, the whole conversation, and where I might be headed. Donald Miller, Building a Story Brand. This is another real strategic, tactical book. I've used this framework quite a bit. I'll probably make a video walking through this framework, or maybe a few videos. It's a longer framework. But this is a really fascinating book for marketers because it clarifies some things that we inherently know are true, and it articulates them really well. One of the things that's most obvious when you read this, he kind of shatters the idea of we need to remember that we are not the hero in our customer's story, right? The customer always wants to be the hero. Just like in your own story, you want to be the hero. So you're not Luke Skywalker. Even better, you get to be Yoda, right? You're the one, they're the guy that's already gone through this, right? You're the one who gets to help shepherd the hero along their journey as this wise, thoughtful, caring guide. And so he puts together a really helpful framework of how to think about your customer as a hero, how to think about yourself as a guide, how to position your villains, and then how to walk them through a story. There's even some real practical tips on how to change things on your websites and conversions, all that great stuff. Phenomenal book, endorsed by Seth Godin, so obviously it's a keeper there. This one, I don't have a cover for me, I took it off, but this one might surprise people. So this is Predictably Irrational by Dan Ariely. It's not really a marketing book, but it's actually the first book I ever read as a marketer. I wanted to learn more about marketing, and so a previous mentor of mine, this was the first book he gave me. And if I remember correctly, it's been a few years since I read it, I think the book opens actually with this Dan guy is in maybe a burn unit. He gets badly burned, and so he can't move, and so he's observing people's behavior, and it really occurs to him how predictably irrational people are, that people make irrational decisions so consistently that you can almost predict it, but it doesn't necessarily logically make sense or rationally make sense. And so after that, I think he's an economics guy, and he goes through and he does tons and tons of experiments on behavioral economics. He does a lot of pricing experiments. He does so many things to sort of prove the points of humans are predictably irrational. We make decisions based on emotion, not ration. So if you are a marketer, you're looking for a book that's not a marketing book, but will greatly influence a marketing mind. Predictably Irrational, Dan Ariely. So those are the 5 books that I think every marketer needs to have at least read once, if not own it in your library, as a reference. Some other great books that you can look for. Start with Why, Simon Sinek. I have that on audiobook, so I can't show that right now. But this one also not a marketing book, but Understanding Michael Porter. So if you know Michael Porter, he's like, the father of modern business or whatever. But reading Michael Porter it's incredibly dry. He's just very, very hard to get into. I have one of his books as well. This is called Competitive Strategy. It's so dry. And so one of his students actually at Harvard, Joan Magretta, wrote a book called Understanding Michael Porter, where she basically writes a book about his book and about his lessons. She does an incredible job articulating his concepts, bringing a lot more life to them and explaining them a lot better. And so, incredible book if you want to get more well-rounded into overall business strategy. It's really, really helpful if you can come at that from a marketing mind as well. So those are your 2 bonus books. Hope this has been helpful. If you enjoyed this or if it brought you any value, I would love it if you would like this video, if you'd share it with someone that you think might need to see it, and don't forget to subscribe so you can see all of our videos as soon as I upload them. Thanks.